Suppose books could talk. Today we will discuss an important conversation.
The teacher of the crucial dialogue said, "Why do emotions sometimes not last long without arguments?" I know a model couple. They never argued, but after 10 years of marriage, it suddenly fell apart.
The main reason is that silence can sometimes be more dangerous than arguing.
This sounds too unbelievable. Haven't we always been taught since we were young that a little patience leads to peace?
Research shows that in 85% of relationships, the reason for the breakup is not due to arguments, but rather the things that were left unsaid.
Really?
This is completely contrary to common understanding.
Don't we often say that a harmonious family leads to prosperity? So, isn't it a good thing not to argue?
The peace on the outside is just a facade. When you start choosing silence in one matter, it won't be long before you're silent in many other matters.
So, what will this ultimately lead to?
This silence gradually forms an insurmountable emotional distance, like an invisible wall that keeps getting higher.
Do you mean that couples who seem perfect because they don't argue actually face more problems?
That's right. In a survey with 1,000 couples, we found that in the 6 months before breaking up, the number of arguments decreased.
Decrease it? But why? The conflict should have erupted, right?
This is the most concerning part, because they have given up on communication and internally assumed that the relationship is beyond saving.
That's surprising. So, what makes people choose silence instead of speaking their true feelings? Is it because they are afraid of arguing?
It is due to the misconception that doing so is for the good of the other person. It sounds like a conscious and thoughtful action, but in reality, those who choose to remain silent to protect the relationship are 3 times more likely to cause a breakup compared to those who directly express their dissatisfaction.
This really makes me change my mind.
So the phrase, "never mind," turns out to be counterproductive. Silence is the true killer of emotions. Indeed, every time you say, "it's okay," your relationship dies a little. This feeling is like water dripping and eroding a stone slab, except this time, what is being eroded is the love between the two people.
So, what topics are we most likely to swallow back and not dare to speak out?
First is the issue of money. The concept of spending and money is often a top sensitive topic. For example, how many people have ever hesitated to say that the meal was too expensive, only for the relationship to end because of the credit card bill? Or someone who always silently bears more financial pressure, but has never expressed their dissatisfaction. This truth is truly correct and relatable.
Next, are there any other taboo topics?
The need and expectation in intimacy is also one of them. Specifically, many people choose to endure the feeling of dissatisfaction rather than expressing their desires by saying, "I hope you will do this or that." They fear that doing so will make them seem unempathetic or too selfish. Similarly, in aspects such as scheduling time for each other, or even basic contact preferences like hugging or casual conversation, people often hesitate to express them.
Besides, the issue of the family of origin is also worth noting, right?
When conflicts arise between your partner and your parents, many people feel stuck in the middle. This is the third topic about interference from the family of origin. The fourth topic is the difference in the future orientations of the two people. All 4 of the above issues are very common in relationships.
But is there a more urgent issue?
That's right. There is also a fifth type that is fatal: neglect under the guise of love.
Neglecting in the name of love sounds scary. Specifically, what is this?
Those are the wounds that the other person will never know about.
For example, have you ever pretended to be satisfied out of fear of hurting that person?
These well-intentioned lies often cause intimacy to fade the fastest. Or, when deeply hurt by something that person said, you still smile and say, "it's okay." All these small wounds accumulated over time will eventually become scars that cannot heal.
But will saying it out loud harm the relationship? These topics are already sensitive.
The issue isn't what you say, but how you say it.
So, what's important here? Is there a way for us to speak honestly without damaging the relationship?
The focus of important conversations is to create a safe environment.
What is a safe environment? Is this a new concept?
That's when you make the other person feel certain that the purpose of the conversation is not to blame them, but to improve the relationship between both of you.
Can you be more specific?
Simply put, It is about creating a dialogue space where both parties feel safe, as if they have activated a protective shield for their hearts. Create safety in the relationship so that both of you know that no matter what is said, it won't harm the relationship.
This sounds reasonable, but how can we create such a safe atmosphere? Is there a specific way?
First, choose the right time and appropriate space. Then, start the conversation with we instead of you. Finally, clearly state your positive intentions. For example, if you want to talk about the other person doing less housework, don't say you never help me with housework. Instead, say, I've noticed that recently the division of household chores between us seems to be unbalanced. I hope we can find a way to make things more balanced for both of us. The important thing here is to express your observations and feelings rather than blaming the other person. Instead of turning the listener into an object of criticism, consider the issue as a phenomenon that needs to be resolved together. Thus, criticism will be replaced by a spirit of cooperation. Additionally, you can also apply the sandwich method. This is a presentation method where you alternate between compliments and contributions. Start the conversation with appreciation, then mention the issue you are not satisfied with, and finally end with a word of encouragement or hope, like a bitter pill coated with a sweet exterior. For example, I really appreciate your hard work and dedication to your job, but recently, I've noticed that most of the household chores are being handled by me, and I feel a bit overwhelmed. I believe your thoughtfulness will help us find a more reasonable way to divide the chores. In fact, expressing dissatisfaction at an appropriate level benefits the relationship rather than harming it. Studies have shown that couples who dare to moderately share their dissatisfaction are 37% happier than those who strive to maintain complete harmony. An astonishing figure, isn't it?
Why is there such a big discrepancy?
It is precisely because a truly sustainable relationship also requires an environment where both can safely express their thoughts and feelings. True connection does not lie in false perfection, but in choosing to walk together even when the relationship is not perfect.
But what if the conversation doesn't go as desired and leads to an argument? What if both fall into conflict?
Most people instinctively do one of two things: either try to impose their viewpoint or ignore it and choose the silent treatment.
Isn't this what we always do? Is there a problem?
Many people think that is a normal reaction, but it turns out both of these ways only make the relationship more tense. One side tries to control, while the other chooses to avoid. But in the end, neither side truly addresses the core issue.
So, what approach best demonstrates high emotional intelligence?
Try applying the CPR method to fix it.
CPR, isn't that an abbreviation for cardiopulmonary resuscitation? Turns out relationships also need resuscitation?
CPR here stands for C, reconnect, P, problem focus, R, recreate solution. Like cardiopulmonary resuscitation, its purpose is to help the relationship breathe again.
It sounds too professional. Can you give a simpler example? Suppose a couple has been in love for 5 years, but due to geographical distance, they end up breaking up. How did they resolve it afterwards?
This is a very common issue. In this case, the girlfriend proactively expressed her understanding and love for her partner. Then, she clearly stated the specific issue and finally invited him to find a solution together. She didn't blame the other person for lacking love. Instead, she shared her own needs and the common challenges they were both facing.
Is there a golden window for reconciliation? Is it better sooner rather than later?
That's right. The 24 to 48-hour period after a conflict is considered the golden time to repair a relationship. Why is that time? Why not immediately or wait a few more days? If it's too quick, the emotions are still unstable. But if it's left too long, the issue will become fixed like a wound that, if not treated early, will be hard to heal completely. Emotions are like fermented dough. They need enough time to absorb but cannot be left for too long.
Is there anything else that surprises you? If there is, please share with me.
A statistic shows that 72% of couples affirm that deep conversations after a major conflict are the most valuable turning point in their relationship. It turns out that conflict is a good thing, helping them turn danger into opportunity. Each time a conflict arises, It is an opportunity for the relationship to become more intimate and stronger, rather than a threat. Just like the immune system needs appropriately challenging tests to become stronger, so do relationships. Therefore, a truly skilled person is not someone who never argues, but someone who knows how to handle things after each conflict. Love is not about avoiding conflicts, but about learning how to overcome them together.
This saying is truly very true and profound, worth remembering for everyone.
Intimacy is not about never hurting each other, but about learning how to heal after being hurt. A person who is truly good at relationships is someone who can make up after an argument.
Truly impressive. So for those who are always used to being patient, how should they start speaking up?
Let's start with small tasks to practice.
How should I practice? Is there a simple and easy method?
Choose a low-risk topic. Express your feelings by talking about your own emotions instead of pointing out the other person's faults. For example, when something happens, you can say, "How I feel." For example, start by expressing small needs like, "I'm very tired today. I want to rest quietly for a bit." Don't rush to discuss the most sensitive issues right from the start.
After hearing you, I suddenly realized there are many things I have never confessed to my family.
In each relationship, on average, there are about 7 taboo topics that have never been truly discussed.
7 topics, really?
They are like landmines buried in the relationship, ready to explode at any moment. We often think that avoidance will bring peace, but this is the biggest mistake.
It's not surprising when many people say that feelings suddenly fade. In reality, they have suppressed too many unspoken things.
That's right. True love is not about guessing each other's thoughts, but about creating a safe space where both can speak their hearts.
If you've already confessed and the other person reacts negatively, how can you salvage the situation?
Immediately return to the safe zone.
Specifically, how should we say it?
Example: I noticed that the conversation earlier made you uncomfortable. That was not my intention. I truly care about your feelings. Perhaps we can find another way to discuss this topic? The important thing is to make the other person understand that what you prioritize is the safety in the relationship, not forcing them to say everything immediately.
So, the core is to make the other person feel safe and respected.
That's right. The purpose of dialogue is not to win or lose, but to understand. Not to change the other person, but to build consensus.
Truly profound. This completely changes my perception of communication.
When others feel safe, the truth gradually reveals itself. Just as trees need sunlight to grow, the truth also needs a safe environment to exist.
Is there something that absolutely cannot be said? For example, past traumas?
Actually, there are no words that are completely unspeakable, only inappropriate ways of speaking.
So, can past traumas also be mentioned?
Many people often say that what is past should be left in the past. But even past traumas, if expressed in a way that promotes understanding rather than blame, can become a starting point for the healing process. The most important thing is not what you say, but the purpose behind what you say. Do you want to vent or do you want to criticize? Do you want to reconcile or seek revenge? If I had to summarize the essence of an important conversation in one sentence, it would be: the quality of a relationship depends on the quality of communication, and the quality of communication lies in the courage to speak difficult truths at the right time and in the right way.
Your sharing is amazing. Today has truly changed my perspective on the art of effective conversation. It turns out that silence is the true enemy of love, not arguments.
Because of love, it is worth to start an important dialogue. True love always stems from the truth, not from silence.
When applying the method from the book Crucial Conversations, I feel that love and marriage will avoid many unnecessary detours. In the next issue, I would like to ask you to share how to handle important conversations in the workplace, okay?
Of course you can. Communication skills in workplace relationships are equally important, if not more so, because this environment often has power imbalances, making it even more difficult to speak the truth.
I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for sharing today. I believe that many people will gain positive value from this. See you next time.